Close to the village Dyreborg is a very large and high hill that's called Rigens High. And there live trolls. Every Christmas Eve that hill stood on golden pillars and the trolls had a party under there. Well, the people in Dyreborg always kept well with the trolls and they got to borrow cauldrons and other things they needed. Once they had borrowed a big cauldron, they was going to use it for the Christmas slaughter. Christmas Eve, a farmhand was sent to go back with a cauldron, and as a thank you for borrowing it, they have filled it with sausages. But this farmhand, he was a ne'er-do-well, and he ate the sausages and made something bad in the cauldron instead. Well, sort of his own sausage. On Christmas Day, the people at the farm got to see something terrible in the stable when they came out there. The trolls had been over and changed all the animals' heads and tails with each other. The troll came to Lykke and wanted to borrow water every Christmas. They had copper buckets and copper-carrying yokes. The people didn't really like this, but they had no option than to let the trolls do this. One Christmas, though, there was an animal trainer there that had gotten a place for the night, and he had a small bear with him. He had went to bed on top of the large oven, and the bear was there with him. When the trolls came to the floor to get their water, the animal trainer pushed the bear down, and the trolls got terrified and ran off. The year after, one of the trolls came up and asked the people if they had their big, large, angry cat still at the farm. "Oh, she's much bigger now," answered the people, "and now she gets 7 cubs." Then the trolls didn't dare to show themselves in Lykke anymore. There once was a man that got called out to the forest, and he answered rudely. But the one who had called told him to come to a certain place in the woods at a Thursday during a certain time. The longer into the week, the more nervous the man started to get. Finally, he went to the priest, and the priest gave him the advice to go there, but to bring wine with him. The man went, and then he entered the mountain hall. And in the hall there was a chopping block with an axe in it, because they was going to chop his head off. But he brought wine and offered to the trolls, and they got drunk and started to fight each other. Then there was an old hag in the mountain that said, "I have lived while 3 birch forests have grown up and rotten down, but never have it been such a fight in our mountain." At one place there was an old stamp mill, and in it every single Lucia night there was a miller that got killed. After a while there was no miller that wanted to go there that night and take care of the milling. But then there was one that wasn't too far away from this place that said that even if the devil himself ruled that mill, he would go there and he would do the milling. But during the night the mill got full of cats, and they sat everywhere, on the floor, on the flour sacks, and everywhere you looked there was a cat. The miller, however, had his gun with him, and that one he didn't put away. Then he heard a voice. "Is Murkur here yet?" And right away there was a terrible huge cat that came in through the door. It was really frightful. The miller understood then that the clock had struck 12, and he took the gun and shot. But then all the cats disappeared. The miller didn't hear anything more that night. When he got home again, the folk at his farm wondered how he could have gotten away with his life. He then told them all of it and how it had happened. And then he said, "It was so full of cats that there wasn't a spot where there wasn't a cat sitting, and I'm sure that devil was there too." And he pointed at their own cat that was sitting on the floor. At that moment that he said that, the cat disappeared and they never saw him again. Them trolls, they had cows in the past. And them cows had bells, and you could hear them troll women calling in the evening. And they had a big bull too, and that bull would eat and destroy the grass for the people living close by. Finally, they caught him and decided they would butcher him. And so they did, and he was probably dead, they thought, but when they was going to flay the skin of him, he rose up again and walked out. One of the farmhands then took the axe and ran after him to kill him again. But he hadn't run far before a fine rich lady stood in front of him. She asked him what he wanted, and in the haste he didn't know what to answer. So I guess he got so stunned. So he said, "Well, I was going to ask if I could become your son-in-law." Then the lady answered, "That I will remember, and come again in 3 years when I have taught my daughters virtues." And when that time had passed, she did came to the farm with a daughter for him, and he had to take the woman, of course, and marry her. But after that he got really mean towards her, so that turned into a really unhappy marriage. But one day they was going to put a shoe on the horse, and it was too small, so he say, "I have to go to the smith and get it straight." Then she answered, "Give it to me, and I set it right." And then she took it and put it between her fingers and straightened it so it fit. When he saw that, he asked how come she had been so patient when she was so strong. Then she answered, "My mother taught me virtues, but your mother have only taught you non-virtues." After that, he never raised a hand against her again.